Hello, everyone. Welcome to this week's episode on My Line Purpose podcast. I'm so excited because I have Ashley Russell here, and I think we're going to have a really fun, honest conversation because that's just how you roll. That's your vibe. Ashley, why don't you tell everybody where are you calling in from today and what are you grateful for?
Hello, everybody. I'm so grateful to be here. First of all, I've been really looking forward to this episode and I've loved following your journey. So I can't wait to talk about all things business and work and life and all the things. I am from Victoria, BC,
Mhm.
same place as you, I believe.
Yeah. Okay, fun. All right. Let's just start off with like fun little like icebreaker questions and just see what you're thinking, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So, somebody shows up at your door today and they say, okay, whether it's just for you and your husband or you and your whole family, you get to decide. I think maybe it's just a you and your husband vibe thing. And you get 2 tickets to go anywhere in the world for a vacation. Where do you go and why?
I think that we choose Hawaii every time. Every
Oh,
time. It just holds so many special memories for us. And we got married on a beach in Kauai.
beautiful.
And there's just something about the energy in Hawaii. Like, soon as the air hits you, it's like there's not a single worry in life, not a single one. So we take any opportunity to go together. We do have 4 kids, so it would be just us. Otherwise, it's not really a vacation.
Yeah, exactly. And then we'll get into this about your Arbonne journey and the perks, but you get a paid trip to Hawaii every year.
Yeah, yeah, we do. It's really, really cool. It's definitely gives me something to work towards every year and just kind of keeps that focus of what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. Okay. You can eat one meal for the rest of your life.
Burgers.
Oh my God. That's on my top three. Top
Yeah.
three.
When we're in Hawaii, I have a burger a day. We just go and hit like little hole in the wall joints we can find, and we have a burger every single day.
Okay. Love this. Third one. What would be a trait about yourself that you're like, oh, not my favorite. If I could trade it out, I would. And what would you trade it in for?
So I have very high ADHD, and a trait that I would give away is how forgetful I am. Like train of thought just gone. I lose my stuff all of the time. And I would trade it in for having a little bit of like that type A. Like I wish I was a little more organized and a little more on it.
You know, it's funny. My husband and I were asking each other this question because it's just like a good coaching question. And he asked me, "What's yours?" And he's like, "I can take a guess." And I was like, "Well, I think we're probably on the same page." And he said, "I wish that I didn't have to leave the house being like, okay, phone, wallet, keys, phones, watch, things are unplugged. Like, and this is my life. And then I get in the car and I'm like, fuck, I don't have the keys. And then it's a whole thing every
I have
day.
one bag that I take for everything. It's my gym bag, it's my work bag, because I know at least all my stuff is in it. It's chaos, but
Mm.
I'm like, all my stuff is in it. And I just feel bad for my husband because his whole life is just making sure I have what I need.
Yes, this is mine too. Jeff's very detailed. Okay, on that note, are you on TikTok
Okay, so I can't have TikTok.
because of the distraction?
Yes.
Okay.
I
I don't
tried it once and I was like, this is a hole where it just takes my time.
truly, it is a little guilty pleasure for me. I'm not like a creator on there. I just consume, but there's always trends, right? And one of the trends right now is having a purse bowl. And I saw these women be like, come with me to get a purse bowl. And I'm like, what the fuck's a purse bowl? And apparently there's women out there who are not like you and I. They don't have just one big bag with everything in it. They switch out their bags every day. But in order to not lose all of the contents of the bag, they're like going to HomeSense and getting a big bowl that they keep at the front of their door, that they dump all their lip gloss and wallet and makeup and everything into, so that the next day when they go to grab a new purse, they just take everything from the purse bowl and dump it back into the new purse.
That's wild. I have a miscellaneous drawer and it's dangerous for me to have because I'm like, what's in here? Old pictures, scissors, a nail file, like the mail keys. I don't know. I could never have that.
Yeah, I was like, wow, we're really living in two different realities here.
Yes.
Okay, Ash, one of the things I always love to ask people is, kind of, did you see yourself being on this trajectory? Now, if anybody follows your social media, I think like, we gather a little bit of your story that no, this isn't the life you were predicting, 20
Mm.
years ago or whatever. But can you take us back to, I always like to go back to, you're ending your high school career.
Yeah.
And there's so much pressure when we're ending high school to like make a decision for the rest of our life, as if anybody has the brain cells to do that.
Yeah.
Walk us back to like 18-year-old Ashley. Where was she at? What was she thinking life was going to be? And then start to paint the vision of the journey to where you are right now.
So I have a bit of a different journey being 18. I actually lived with my older sister, she's just under a year and a half older than me, and we lived together downtown. And I would bus to school, and I did everything in my power when I was in grade 12 to put all of my courses in the first semester
Mm.
so I could graduate early and I could just be done. So I actually did that. I did not go to graduation. I did not have that pressure of like having to figure your life out. And I kind of wish I had a bit more of it so that I had a bit more focus on what I was doing. And we worked downtown in the restaurant industry together and we just had so much fun. And so much fun led me to being pregnant at 20.
Yeah, fun times do.
Yeah, they do. But I felt like I've been 45 since I was 20. So, people are like, oh, you're turning 30, you're 35, you're 36. Like, how does it feel? And I'm like, I still don't feel like I'm the age that I've been for so long
Right.
because I had this like very serious life start when I was so young, pardon me. And I didn't get like the regular, like going to college and like having all of these jobs that you hate. And I,
Yeah.
I didn't have that. I was just kind of thrust into this world where I was a mom and I was doing something different than everybody else my age. I kind of thought that I hated motherhood because of it. And
Right.
I didn't have a good partner. I was doing a lot of it alone, and there was a lot of hardship in that relationship. And, before I knew it, 22 months later, after that first one, I had a second one. And at 22, I had two kids under two. And again, just doing a lot of it on my own. I don't think I realized how hard I was struggling.
Mm. Mhm.
And looking back now, I can see it a lot more clear. Like I had really bad postpartum depression, but I don't want to age myself. But when I was having kids, social media wasn't a thing.
Yeah, totally. I think, I'm 39. What are you?
36 and a half. So, I remember Instagram coming out when my second daughter was like 6 months old or something, and it was just filters. But I was just like, I can look back, there was no education, right? There's no like, what is postpartum depression? There wasn't any of that. So, I remember just really struggling with my life. And looking back now, I'm like, girl, you had really bad postpartum depression. Like, you were not thriving and you just didn't know.
Right. And like at that age, men and women, like our brains aren't fully developed yet. And yeah, young
Yeah, so
Ash.
I just didn't really get a minute to really plan my life out. Like I didn't have a minute to be like, what do I want? Because I was just thrust into picking up all the pieces. And I was really resentful that the other person in this parenting relationship, it's like it didn't affect them.
Mm.
So it was all on me. And I was like making my peace. I actually remember having this conversation with myself. Feel so stupid now, but I was sitting on the edge of my bed and I just had a meltdown because my kids were hard, like so close in age. They did not like it. They were really hard. I spent my day like just being a referee. And I
Right.
sat myself down and I was like, Ash, you need to make your peace with what's happening right now. This is your life. Okay. You don't like it. Maybe when you're like 40, 45, and your kids are older, because, they're 15 and 13 now,
Right.
can do something for yourself. You can go back to school or you can get like a 9 to 5. And I remember just telling myself to just settle and just wait.
Like
Yeah.
just double the time that you've been alive right now, and then it will be okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I didn't have any like big life plans. I just kind of was trying to survive, honestly, and do what I could. And I had network marketing fall in my lap when I was bartending for extra money on the weekends. And I didn't really do anything with it for about a year and a half. There was no like vision. There was no, this is going to change my whole life. There was none of that. It just kind of gradually started to happen as I realized step by step what was possible.
Right.
And I got to the point where I was like out earning my bartending money. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is happening here? And then from there, like, I'm so grateful for the journey because it was exactly the path I needed to create who I am. But I definitely didn't have like this big life aspiration to be successful or anything. I just kind of thought I was still going to be waiting out my time until my kids were old enough that I could focus on myself.
Right. And then now you're here and network marketing, top 1%.
Mhm.
MVP, and you've got a podcast and you're running a very large team and you started business coaching on the side.
I just
And
did, yeah.
it's like it's all unfolding.
Yes. And yeah, recently, like within the last year, I'd say, I mean, I just had the hardest year of my life in my business, but I just started asking, like, I feel like I'm here for a purpose. So whatever it is, I'm up for it. And then as soon as I stepped into that, it's like these opportunities just kept unfolding and unfolding.
Right.
And it's been really cool.
Now, if we go back to, so you're in the relationship that like wasn't feeling good. And I've been there and I think every single woman we know has been there. And I have never had kids tied up in a really hard relationship. I was previously engaged to somebody and I was with them for 6 years, and I knew 6 months in I shouldn't have been with that person.
Yours too. And it
Yeah.
was the same.
Every month, I was like, this is the month. I have full body goosebumps because I just like, there's a part of me that feels so sad for the part of me that spent 6 years being like, this is the month you're going to do it. And I couldn't. It felt so hard. And
Yep.
people, I'll talk to people now and they'll be like, well, why didn't you get out of it? I'm like,
Oh my gosh,
I,
this question sends me. Well, why didn't you just leave?
it's like, it's so complicated. And again, I didn't have children. I can only imagine how much more that makes it complex. If back then there wasn't really social media, you weren't in network marketing yet, so I'm just going to make a guess that you weren't super into personal development yet. What allowed you or what gave you the true courage to say, I'm going to leave this and do something different?
I'm gonna try not to cry here. But so my favorite TV show of all time is The Office. Okay.
Okay.
Like, also, I realized later in life that this is an ADHD thing where you just watch the same shows over and over and over again. So when my girls were still really little, the last episode of The Office was airing, and I was sitting on the couch and my girls were napping, and I was watching Pam's monologue. Have you seen the last episode of The Office where they're all like closing out? I
Mhm.
bet you most people listening to this will have seen it.
Okay.
And Pam is sitting there and she's reflecting on the fact that they've just been filmed for 9 years. And she's like, I couldn't even watch the rest of it because all I could focus on was the fact that I spent so many years less happy than I
Mm.
could have been. Yeah. Yeah. I was like trying to make through that. I was like, I'm going to cry. But I was watching her and it was like I got punched in the gut. I was like, I am spending all of these years being less happy than I can be. But it's like, it was the unknown. Am I going to be happier on the other side, or is it going to be a disaster? And I was in a situation that was set up so perfectly to keep me there because I was convenient, but I was the stay-at-home mom. I didn't have access to money. I was asking for money to like go get groceries, and they worked overseas a lot. So it was like I was literally stuck.
Yeah. Like actually.
Yeah, but Pam spoke those words to my soul. And I was like, that's what I'm doing right now. I am
Mm.
spending these years less happy than I could be. And I told my mom after, I was like, I have to leave. And she asked me the question, what are you going to do? You have no money. And I was like, I think I would rather be so poor and so happy than be somewhere where I have access to money, but I have to ask for it. And I'm
Mhm.
not happy at all.
Yeah. It's like being miserable. And did your mom get it at that time?
I mean, like every single person in my family at that point had had some kind of altercation with this person. So
Mm.
she understood, but she was just more concerned about how I was going to survive.
Right.
She's two kids, like you're going to take these two kids, literally no money. What are you going to do? And I was like, I'm going to do, it turns out when you're like a very young mom, a mom at all, you're like, I'll do whatever it is I have to do.
Yeah. I'll figure it out.
Figure it out.
And so in that from that episode to when you actually left, how long was the time period? Were you like, I'm activating this now, or did you have to like really pep talk yourself into it?
That was the moment where it was like, I know I'm not going to be here forever, and talked to my mom. And then I talked to my sister, and we actually had a trip planned to Thailand because they did a bunch of courses and stuff. They worked overseas, and so their courses were everywhere. So we were going to go to Thailand. And I said to my sister, I was like, I need to leave. I can't go on this trip. Like,
Mhm.
and my sister said to me, she's like, I get it. She's like, I want you to take this time, go on this trip, and really think while it's just the two of you, is this going to get better? Like, is this something that you can move through or is it not? But she's like, I want you to take this time, this, like, I think it was like 10 days, and really think about this.
Mm.
So I did. And the day after we came home, there was an incident where my daughter, my oldest daughter, she's got this really beautiful curly long hair. And she would always freak out when I was brushing her hair. Like the scene that would happen when I would brush this girl's hair. Like I would hold her ponytail and just not even brush it. And she'd be screaming. And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
And so she was doing this thing and he came in and he gave me a swat,
Mm.
a real good one. And like this person is like 250 pounds. Okay. I'm like 120 at the time. And he took over the hairbrushing and I walked out of the bathroom and when he came out, I was like, okay, so
Confirmation.
Yeah,
I'm
I was
done.
like, let's take the girls for ice cream and let's go and talk about separating because your first instinct just now was to swat at me. And yep, I'm done. And there was no emotion, there was no big like crying, fighting scene, which was our whole relationship. It was just, nope, obviously this is not changing. It is the day after we got back from spending time alone and we slipped right back into how you treat me and I gotta go.
I think it's so powerful to like reflect on the the courage and the strength that that version of you had without everything that you have now. So you didn't have a supportive partner then. You didn't have this big team, this business, this money. I'm assuming the confidence, all of that that comes with everything that you have now. And there was still a version of you who was like, no, I'm fucking fighting for this. Like I'm going to make something different happen. If you could go back and tell that version of yourself one thing, what would you say?
I would just tell her that whatever she chooses is right. Because she spent, this is like every time gets me. She spent so much time like second guessing, am I worthy? Am I capable? And I would just be like, just whatever you choose, it's right and you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like have some faith in yourself. Because I mean, when you've been in a relationship like that, like the whole purpose of it is to convince you that you are worthless and
Yeah.
that you won't make it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it was like I was battling that kind of inner dialogue, and I would just tell her that she can do it. Like literally whatever it is she wants, she can do it.
Do you feel like it's confusing for people because like if we were to just take a look at your physical appearance, it's like, okay, you're a very beautiful person. And I'm assuming that you've always been this way. So do you think it's confusing for people of like, why didn't you leave? Like you could just find somebody else. Like it would just be okay. Like why do you think it's hard for people to understand why you didn't leave?
I think they just based on like the feedback I get even now, if you are attractive, people have an assumption that your life is easy.
Yeah, totally.
So, like, and it's a write-off right now. Like I posted a reel about my amazing husband like doing something and I was like, you are someone's dream girl. Like don't settle with that trend. I just talked about it and so many women came in and they're like, well, it's easy for you because you actually are someone's dream girl. Like you're pretty.
Mm.
I was like, but if the rule applies,
Yeah.
it applies everywhere. And it
Mhm.
didn't apply when I was being cheated on and screamed at and kept in a terrible relationship. So I feel like the pretty thing only applies when you're winning,
Right.
right? Because I'm like, I was pretty when I struggled, when I had no money, when I was like biking my kids around because I couldn't put gas in. I was pretty then too. So,
Yeah.
you know,
It's like, Beyonce was cheated on. So,
thing. I'm like, your face doesn't do the work. Your face is not going to build your business. Your face is not going to make your relationship amazing. It won't. It's who you are as a person. And but
yeah.
it's those inner stories, right? It's whatever you feel you lack, you tend to project.
And it's so interesting too, because it's like, yeah, your face won't get you all these things or do all these things for you. And on the flip side, it's like, it doesn't matter how beautiful somebody is or pretty or whatever they've got going on. If somebody's cheating on them or treating them terribly, it's literally not about them. But it feels like and I'm sure you can relate, all of my exes that I had serious relationships with, somebody for 5 years and another person for 6 years, and they both ended in cheating. And I had so much inner work to do around like, what was it about my appearance? I made it all about my appearance. I'm not tall enough. I'm not thin enough. I'm not tanned enough. Da, 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 da. And it like, this when I say that, it was so subconscious through me. Like I didn't even realize I was thinking that. And then I went and did an ayahuasca ceremony in 2017. And my intention going into my second night was I want to feel like I can truly trust men again in intimate relationships and that I'm worthy of like building a family and falling in love with somebody and having that for myself. And I spent the whole night in this journey and what I came to and realized, and it sounds like so easy now and for other people to hear, but I was like, oh, it actually wasn't about me. Like it wasn't about me. I could have been a literal supermodel. It wasn't about how I looked. It was about them. But I was living a lot of my life thinking like why didn't God or the universe just make me taller? Why didn't he make my legs thinner? Like what's going on here? Because like that's what gets ingrained to you when you're being cheated on or somebody's treating you poorly. It's like it has to be something about you.
And I honestly, like you telling that story, my story for like coming out of external validation is so similar. That's really crazy that that was your experience, because even when I came out of that relationship, I lived in external validation so hard because there was nothing, there was no validation internally for myself. I was so disconnected. I was like, maybe if my hair is perfect, or maybe if I lose all the baby weight and I,
Mhm.
like a fit mom and that's my thing. And maybe if I have the abs and maybe if I have the boobs and all the things, right? And I went to like a spiritual awaken event thing for 3 days. And on the first day, we did an exercise where it was like eye gazing.
I've done this. Yep.
Yeah, and they're like, just get up in the room and make a connection with somebody. And I'm over here like, I have major abandonment wounds. Like, no one's going to pick me. This is going to be terrible. And sure enough, the first like 6 people that look at me just look away and keep going. And I'm like, oh, this is great. I'm going to be alone in the room. And then I make eye contact with this like very large man across the room. And I was like, okay, let's just sit down. And we had to speak about like what we were doing here. And I was like, I
Mhm.
think I'm here to let go of 10 years of trauma from this relationship. Like, I don't know. I'm like, I explained everything to him, and he was looking at me, and he's like probably 45, like huge, jacked, right? And he is silently crying as I'm
Mhm.
unloading what has happened to me. And I was like so uncomfortable. And he looked at me and he's like, I'm here because everything you just said, I did to my ex-wife. And I think I
Oof.
needed to look you in the face and really see how that affected you. He was like, he was floored. He was like, everything you just said, I did that. And he was the first person to tell me, he's like, I need you to know that that had nothing to do with you.
Mm.
Lost it. I was like, what? And he's like, that had nothing to do with you. He's like, look at you. Like, look at you. And you're sitting here thinking that you're not pretty and you're not worthy and you're not any of these
You're not
things.
enough.
Yeah, and he's like, that had everything to do with him and his lack of ability to like love himself. So he was always searching for something else. It wasn't about you. It was like, what?
Isn't it crazy? And like, and maybe somebody else told you that before, but it just didn't land. It's like it landed in that moment of receptivity of like, that man was literally a mirror.
Like, are you going to tell me that that was a coincidence? I was like, I just happened to be in Austin, Texas, sitting across from this man, right? Like, he healed that part of me in that moment. And then I did my first breathwork session later that evening, and it was just a full like reconnection experience with I've never experienced anything like that. Like, I came out of that one session a different person. I came out
Mhm.
and I was like, I'm amazing.
Yeah.
I always was amazing. That's so crazy that I was so far away from who I am. And I was so disconnected and just like begging for people to accept me, and that if I looked a certain way, I could be enough and be chosen and be accepted. And I was like, nah, it's in here.
Right. It's in there. This makes me think as we start to move towards talking about what it means to be a woman and be a woman business owner and be an entrepreneur and all these sorts of things. I have my own core beliefs around what it means to like be responsible for my energy and do the inner work and define what the inner work means to me. And without making it a prereq, I'm not like, I will only work with you if you do inner work, but I know you will only succeed if you do the inner work, right?
Yeah.
You can have all the fucking launch plans and funnels and websites and pretty branding, but if you're sitting at your desk feeling like I'm not good enough, woe is me, what are my gifts in the world, it will never work. And I feel like I want to preach this from the rooftops, and people learn on their own timeline and they don't know what they don't know. But what would you define as, because I just heard you say you do breath work, what would you define as like doing the work, the
Mm.
inner work?
So I have a lot of little practices now at this point that help me, but I actually signed my business coach on because of his use of like somatics and spirituality and personal growth with the tactical business side. I was like, business cannot go without the personal work because your business is only going to grow to the lengths that you do.
Mm-hmm.
Meditation, visualization, breath work, life changing for me.
Mm-hmm.
It did lead me back to faith, but not so much religion. And if you grew up religious, you might understand the difference of just like a relationship with God versus a full blown religious
Yeah.
thing. And that work, the energy understanding of the business aspect of like when I'm working in a negative energy, I'm not in a mood, I'm not going to be attracting anything, like
Mm-mm.
nothing. Having the skills to actually change your frequency to be in alignment with what you are wanting to bring in. Like, how do you build a business without that skill?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I think about In our work, in My Line Purpose, our main way that we work with people is a mastermind. And at any given time, it fluctuates. People, their contracts up and then people come in. But, we hover around like 40, 45 people at a time. And we ask our clients every Friday to fill out a tracker. And the tracker asks like a series of, I don't know, maybe 7 questions or something. It's like, what are you proud of? What will you do differently next week? Where are you having conversation? What's felt like a challenge? Who are you talking to for leads? What's for sale? How much money did you bring in this week? And then do you have any questions for us? I would say out of the let's just say 40 people, I would say out of the 40 people, it's always less than 20 that fill it out. It's like pulling teeth sometimes, like fill out your tracker. Because if you want personalized feedback, I will give it to you, but I need you to meet me halfway and fill out the tracker. And so our clients will fill out the tracker. And every week I am blown away with the correlation between the self-recognition of this is what I'm really proud of, this is what I'm working on, this is what I'm doing, and cash in the door. And we've got people that are like just totally fucking crushing it with cash in the door. I'm like, I've never made that much money in a week. And our business has made 7 figures. Like they're just totally crushing it. And then the correlation to like, I can see I'm finding it hard to see what I'm proud of this week. Don't know what I'll do differently next week. Didn't make the effort to talk to anybody, $0 in the door, and then go and, tell people I'm not making any money. And so all this to say, where I'm going with this is, as a business owner who I'm not responsible for all of these people, but I am their coach, and you are the coach to many people. My life's work is to not feel responsible for their results. Like if you're doing really good, that's awesome, but I didn't do that for you. And if you're doing really poorly, I'm sorry that you're experiencing that, but also not taking on like, I wish I could make their business make more money. And that's really hard for me. And it's always been really hard. And I know it's my work. I can see the correlation of like who's making a lot of money and why. And I can see the correlation of who's not making a lot of money and why. When it comes to Arbonne and it comes to like there's actual physical or not physical, like tactical ranks. What's a better word? Or is rank the best word?
Ranks is great. Yeah.
So there's ranks. When you are working with people and you see the women and maybe men who rise up to the ranks of like, let's say our VP, what are you noticing that is pinpointed noticeably different about them to the people who are like, it will not work for me. I'm doing everything she's doing. I'm posting. I'm this, I'm that. You, who's watching it all happen, what would you say is the most noticeable difference?
They have full belief in their vision. So they have long-term vision. And when people have long-term vision, they will do whatever they need to do in the moment to correct how they're feeling to keep going towards that. So they're more positive people. They speak belief and love into their business. The people I always say, I'm like, don't you ever spend a day complaining about your business. If you are speaking negativity into your business, please don't expect that business to grow.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So it's the people who train their mind, because like everybody thinks that the growing the business off the ground and how am I going to get clients and all the how and the tactic is going to be the hardest thing. It's actually training your mind to be strong enough to go through all of those things and get up regardless of what happens, right? It's your mind is the one that's guiding everything all day. If you are speaking positivity and you're finding gratitude, and I used to be a professional victim of my life. Like I will fully say that. I was like, oh, I can't do anything because he, lives his life. So I'm the default parent and he controls the money. So I know. And I was just a victim. And then it was like, no, take some ownership, have some belief in yourself, speak positivity, find gratitude in your life. So to this day, like every single day I have a practice where I do gratitude. And I drive so much. I have a bunch of kids. I'm always driving. And I will just say gratitude until I can't, it's literally like, I'm grateful for the view in front of me. I'm grateful for the way the air smells today. I'm grateful for my husband. I'm like, until I can't think of anything else. And then I will go into, I allow myself 2 statements. And just speak what I will allow to happen in my life and in my day. And then I have a prayer where I ask to be put in front of the people who need to be reached by me. And this is the habits of the people who succeed. They do the affirmations. They're speaking love and belief into their business, and they're encouraging, and they don't dwell on the negative.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I can hear the voices of some people who are like, but I'm trying to do that. I'm trying to believe and it's still not working. And it's like, just like you said, it's long-term vision. There's so many people who want quick overnight success. And so let's just tie that in with network marketing. How many people have you seen come into network marketing and be like, I'm gonna get rich today. Like, sign
Mhm.
me up for this. You're driving the Benz. Well, you're driving the Bronco. Like, you're making however much money a month, multiple tens of thousands of dollars a month. Sign me up. And
Mhm.
then, like, so people that come in with that attitude, what do you think or what do you see is like the differentiator between like, then they're like, oh, I've got to do the work. Okay, I understand there's mindset work here and I'm committed to doing that to like, no, fucking see you later. I'll go back to my 9 to 5.
Yeah, so I would say that I don't attract people in like that at this time, just as I did like a culture reset and standard of excellence reset, I would say in October of last year, where I kind of got my entire team on board of like, what's the vibe for the how we're showing up in this business and who we're attracting into it. But prior to that, I definitely attracted people in like that.
Mhm.
And we live in this world of dopamine addiction. So if it's
Mhm.
not right now, it's like there's no patience for it. And I was someone, I also didn't do personal development when I came into this business. And there's a reason nothing happened in it for a year and a half,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah,
Like, but if you want it to be easy, you're going to end up failing.
absolutely. And personal development is like, having a business is the number one personal development tool there is.
It'll show you all your guts. It will show you all your weak spots. And you will have to choose, am I going to get strong enough to go through this? Because it's like when you're working for yourself too,
Mhm.
you're the driver of everything. So
Everything.
everything, I always say, I'm like, everything in your business is your fault. Just take full ownership of that right now.
Yeah, and recognize when you're the common denominator, right? Like I, I actually had to do so I did a lot of self-work in 2017. I mean, I'm always doing the work. I think we all are. But then again in 2020, I had a relationship end and it wasn't like he was the love of my life at all. We were only together a year, but that relationship ending did something to me. Again, lots of abandonment wounds as well. And I felt like at that time I maybe was 33 or 34. And I thought, oh my God, like, why can't I keep a relationship? What's going on here? I really like, I think I want to grow a family someday. Like, I don't understand. And I had a long, hard, cold look at myself. And I did my first breath work session with this woman named Suze out of San Diego. And she told me ahead of the breath work session, she said, have you ever done breath work? And I said, yeah, I'm a yoga teacher. I've taught yoga for like 10 years. I know pranayama. And she's like, no, no, this is different. I was like, okay, cool. Sign me up. So she's telling me beforehand, you might experience tetany. You might experience being cold, being hot, crying, laughing, D visuals. And I was like, okay, this is fun. I've done
Right?
psychedelics. I'm here for the ride. Let's
Yeah.
see. And I experienced it all, everything. I was hot, I was cold, I was crying, I was laughing, I was seeing like this vision of the woman at the Empire State Building. It was like coming to my face. Like there was all these crazy things. And then after that, I was like, oh, I'm the common denominator. I'm
Mhm.
attracting these men who don't bring any value to my life, who truly don't have much value to bring to anything. Like, why am I attracting, for lack of a better word, like losers? I don't understand. Like I was always the one making more money, way more driven, more ambitious. Like, what's going on here? And so I did all of this work and really started to realize like I'm responsible for everything. I'm responsible for everything in my business. And in 2020 is when we started My Aligned Purpose. And I was like, okay, I'm going to apply this newfound reality of I'm responsible for my wins and I'm responsible to my failures to everything in life. And I feel like that's when everything took a sharp turn for me. I became my most magnetic self. I attracted Jeff, my husband, who I feel like is my dream person. Like I'm treated so well and it's so great. And our business really took off with that mindset of like, I'm here to show up. I don't have a plan B. I'm
Mhm.
not even creating a plan B in my mind. I'm going for this and I'm going to take radical responsibility when the days are really hard. Yeah, they're going to be really hard. And I'm not going to have anybody to put it on. It's all on me, but it's a life I'm choosing.
And
Yeah,
you are always a direct energetic match for what you're experiencing.
always.
And once I learned that, I was like, damn, if I'm experiencing shit, like I need to go and look at what is happening with me, that's what I'm in alignment with.
Right.
And I'm
Absolutely.
definitely at a place now where you do go through the hard parts and I like sit back and I'm like, what am I learning right now? Can't wait
Hmm.
to see what this is what this is going to be. Yeah, when I met my amazing husband who's like I didn't even know men were out there like him.
Same. Yeah.
It was like, oh, you're just gonna quietly heal everything by just being who you are and you're just an amazing person. Like, okay.
I know. I always say that the universe was like, all right, we'll give you a good one.
Yeah.
Finally, after all the duds. Yeah. So In this last little bit here, Bon is really has been, how your business has taken off in the last few years. And what is it about Arbonne that you love? Like, what about the business model or the people? Because I'm sure at this point in your life, you could step away from Arbonne and do your thing. Like, you've got a big enough audience and, the confidence and ambition to do so. And it sounds like you're sprinkling off and like adding these things in. But what keeps you anchored or grounded in the business of Arbonne?
So Arbonne was like, I always say it's a vehicle, and I feel like people don't really understand what it means, but it's just a vehicle with the option to drive wherever you want, which was like, and I've driven it, right? I've
Yeah.
done kind of nothing and kept it parked. I've like done a little bit. You can drive in any direction that you want. And I didn't have prior network marketing experience, so I didn't have any of like the prejudice of like, there's some crazy things that happen in some companies out there. Let me tell you, I've learned since then. I'm like, wait, what? Arbonne itself, like it's just, you're never forced to work or to purchase anything. You have to want to. And I like that because I'm like,
Yeah.
it makes me want to do it.
Mm.
Or like penalized if you don't. And it is what
But you're rewarded when you do.
you're so well rewarded. I'm like, dang, this industry like really incentivizes you to work, but it also kind of like people think it's like a lottery ticket. Like, I'm just going to get the car and I'm going to get the trips. And it's like, no, everybody wants the results, but they're not asking about the work it takes, right?
Right.
But it allowed me to bleed all of my passions through. So I'm a manifesting generator, human design type,
Mm.
and I have a lot of things on the go always, and I'm not good at just doing one thing. So it allowed me to like have a fitness aspect to it, and it allowed me to work around my family, and it allows me to travel and work from it. Just hit so many different things for me. And then through that, I fell in love with watching the change happen in other women's lives. And I
Mm.
fell in love with coaching them to be in their power and to realize that like, I did this for myself, but it's not about me at this point. Like, I want it to happen for every woman who is doubting herself, whose voice shakes when she speaks about her goals, who doesn't even have the ability to, have
Mhm.
goals. Like, I want to help them. So
Mhm.
that's kind of where I fell in love with the coaching aspect of it. And like, I'll never step away from my Arbonne business, no matter what I do, just because I mean, the people inside of it too. Like, how do you say no to just traveling with your best friends multiple times a year?
Yeah, exactly. And the
Like,
product and the products, right? Like
I love
you're
them.
you're actually selling products that you use and love.
Yeah. And like I will say I had a prejudice for sure around like MLM products. I didn't know, right? It's just the narrative of, oh, it can't be as good. And Arbonne products really changed my mind. I've had such drastic changes in like my skin and my gut health and how I feel and the
Mhm.
supplements I take to like aid my fitness routine. And it's really easy to sell something when you love it.
Yep, I couldn't agree more. And it's like, and it because selling is a being of service, right? So it's really easy to help other people when you know that what you're helping them with is like exactly what they need.
Yes. And like it's opened my eyes to this whole world of like how terrible products are out there and how companies just don't care about your health. And if I can help put good products and non-toxic products in more people's hands so that their body feels healthier, oof, till the day I die.
Yeah. And, I think even just hearing you say that, like, there's a lot of prejudice around network marketing or MLM. I think, like, it's so similar in just the general coaching industry as well. There's a lot of smoke and mirrors in the coaching industry and people who will just like rob you of your bank account, don't have any training, any experience. And so, we're met with a lot of like, I just worked with this coach and I got nothing from it. And I see that as both ways. I see people who come to us and they're like, I just worked with this coach and this coach and this coach. And nothing happened in my business. And I'm like, ooh, that's a red flag for
I was going to say
me.
red flag.
Yeah, I'm like, I don't want to be like your golden ticket. Something's telling me this might be a you issue. And I see people who are like, I really want this. And I just got totally burned. And, Kayla and I hired coaches last year, and it was the worst investment in our business in the 5 years that we've been doing
Yes.
this. It
I've
was
hired coaches where I was, paying like over $1,000 a month. And I was like, I am getting literally nothing out of this. This is crazy. Like, where's the meat and potatoes?
Yes. Yeah. And that was like us too. It was a large investment, and lesson learned, do a little bit more research before we decide to work with somebody. And now we have coaches that we absolutely love, but it's like it's not a regulated industry. Coaching's not regulated. So there's no governing body. There's nobody to say like, yes, you're checking these boxes and you are legit and you're not, and that sort of thing. And so for anybody who is, listening to this and they're like, Yeah, I have been one of those people who's, has my judgments about network marketing or MLM. What would you want to say to them to maybe like put them at ease? Because it's like they see what you're doing and they kind of want it, but they're like hearing the voices louder right now still of like, but MLM.
Yeah, I would just say that like network marketing, it's a people-driven industry. And I realize that there are people who do it really, really well, and there are people who do it very poorly and they're just trying to make a sale and there are in it for that just like they'll sign you up and not help. So like you can't deny people's lived experience. There's a
Right.
lot of terrible lived experience out there, but I mean, just based off of the feedback in my organization alone from people who have come from other companies, they're like, just so you know, it's not really like this out there. I would say just interview the person that you're coming into business with. Like, talk to them. What can you offer me as a mentor? What are you looking to do? So like when I talk with people about it, I share our core values for our team because I want people who really align. Like, does this sound like what you want? And I would just say, like, just you decide how it goes. Don't absorb other people's opinions and then that's what you've decided. And network marketing is, I will say, one of the only industries that's a thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like there are terrible personal trainers out there. There are realtors who are like creepy, right? Like it's like it doesn't
Hmm.
matter what industry you're in, there's going to be negative people. But
Hmm.
network marketing is one of those things where it's like if they hear one bad story, they're like, no, the
Yeah.
bias is there. It's a no. But for me, I've had nothing but a really good experience.
I
And
love
I
that.
say that like the ethics and integrity, it's literally in my Instagram bio.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Ethics and integrity in network marketing.
Since you just said your Instagram bio, that's a great segue as we start to wrap this up. Why don't you tell us, like, what are all the things you got going on? Where can people find you? Podcast, Instagram, different ways to work with you. Tell us all the things.
Yeah, so I keep everything in the links in my bio. So you could apply to work with me for Arbonne and just fill out the little survey I have there if you're looking to get into that direct sales space. I like to do calls with people just to see if we're a fit for each other. Obviously, we're in business together.
Hmm.
I also just started business coaching. So I am now looking to coach women who are kind of sitting at that like 8 to 10,000 a month mark and they're looking to go 20,000, 30,000 in their business and really learn how to utilize social media and do sales through it and create personal branding and use it as a business platform. So you can work with me in two ways, whether it's in Arbonne or as a business coach. And I am tough as a mother. I don't think we said that. I am tough as a mother on Instagram.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's so exciting to, maybe for the people out there who are like, well, I've already got my business, so I'm not looking to get into another business, but I like your vibe. So,
Mhm.
like, what is that like? And like, I think everybody will get a pretty good sense of your vibe and your frequency and your energy just from this episode. Like, you care about those things. And I think there's people out there that will be totally magnetized to that, right? They're like, yes, that's what I care about. And other people are like, a little too woo for me. And you're like, all right, see you later. Have fun.
It's funny because like I am woo, but I'm also very direct.
Hmm.
I struggled with that. I was like, I don't know how to like fully embody who I am because I have such like alternate things. But I think that a direct coach is really important because like they care about you enough to not
Hmm.
keep you where you are and they will speak the truth to you to pull you up to what's best. And for me, that's why I hired my business coach because I was like, this guy is so direct, like he is going to hold me accountable. I need
Absolutely. And like I always say, to our clients that your results are a reflection of your results. We want you to, when your time is up, if your time is up, to leave and say you had an incredible experience. We
that.
have like a 80% retention rate. Like we have people who are with us 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. And we know that that's because like, why go somewhere else when you have a really good coach? And then for other people, it's like just not a fit or they're looking for something else. And that's totally fine. And my hope and intention is that when you do decide to exit, that you have results that you're proud of, that we're also proud of.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
And I think
absolutely.
as a coach, being okay with the fact that you're not going to be for everybody and your coaching style
Exactly.
is not going to be for everybody. And that's okay, right?
Mhm.
Like, I think some people would let that crumble them, whereas I already know I'm like, I'm not for everybody, but for the people I am for, like, whoo, we gonna change your life.
Yeah, yeah. What I really realized in the last like year and a half, in the first 3.5 years or so, we were new in business, in this kind of business. I used to be a teacher, so I had nothing to compare entrepreneurship too. I was just like, what? A coach? I just thought that was for sports. And so I really like this just like fell into my lap in like 2017, but like really became a business in 2020. Well, Ash, and what's your podcast?
Ooh, it is tough as a mother, unfiltered.
Okay.
Don't listen to it with kids in the car.
Don't listen to it with kids in the car. Okay. We'll make sure that we link everything in the show notes. So everybody who's listening, you don't have to like, try and mentally jot this down. It'll all be there for you. Go follow Ash if you're not already. Tough as a Mother on Instagram. Subscribe to the podcast. It's always nice. Leave a rate and review. That helps boost the old algorithm there. I just want to say thank you so much. This was so fun, so easy. Felt easy for me.
Yeah.
Like nice fluid conversation. And any final thing that you want to leave people with before we sign off today?
I would ask you a question because I'm going to have a lot of my network while listening to this as well. As a business coach who's been in this industry for a while, what would you say to people who think that they don't need a coach in their business? Like maybe they're doing really well. What would you say to them about having a coach?
I would say, have you ever watched professional sports? Have you ever seen the best of the best athletes be like, no, I'm good, bro. Got it on my own. Don't need a coach this year. Yes, you do. You need outside eyes, outside ears, outside perspective. I like personally will always have a coach. As a coach, I will always have somebody who's further along where I want to be, who will stretch me and support me with love. And so that I can take what I learn and leave what I don't and pass it along. But I think that for anybody who's listening, that's thinking, do I need a coach? I want you to think about the best actors and actresses in the world. They have like speech coaches and acting coaches, and the very best athletes in the world, like Michael Jordan, did not get to where he's at from him just being like, I think I'll just figure this out on my own. Like the best top performers, I guess we'll say, maybe not just athletes, but peak performers. I know what I was going to say, but anyhow, the best peak performers have somebody guiding them there. They have somebody guiding them there. So if you're looking to go where like you don't know what you don't know. So if you want to go somewhere that is way bigger, expand your vision, be in a room, be in conversations, hear what's possible. Again, I didn't even know coaching was a thing until I swiped right on Tinder, matched this guy in Australia, went on a date with him. He asked me the most fascinating questions I'd ever been asked. And I was like, what do you do for work? And he said, I'm a coach. And that just like mind blown because I'd never heard of it before. And then I entered a brand new world.
I love that analogy because I always say, like, look at Olympians. Do you think that they don't have coaches? The best performers in the world. And like when I started, I listened to Ed Milet and he was like my little positive voice in my head. And then he would always speak on the fact that he is a mindset coach for the top athletes and performers in the world. And I'm like, not only do they have like performance coaches, they have mindset coaches. They have people who are coaching them in every aspect because they want to be great. So I love that. Like for me, I hit the top of my company and I'm like, what's next? I want to be great. I always want to have some aspect of like small fish mentality. Like I'm a small fish still and I can learn so much. So I know for me as well, like I'll never not have a coach.
Yeah, I won't either. I personally be hesitant to work with a business coach or mentor who didn't value that and they didn't have a coach.
Yeah, same. You're like, wait, what?
And they weren't investing in it. I'd be like, oh, okay, but you want me to invest in you, but you don't see the value in investing in it. Something there feels a little off to me.
A little bit of ego too, like getting to that point where you're like, I don't need a coach. And I'm like, I always want some level of accountability and growth and
absolutely. And I think it goes for all areas. It goes for business, like health, right? Like health and fitness. I can go to the gym on my own for sure. And the times when I'm like, okay, I really have this goal that I want to meet, I know I will get there with more focus and more intention and get better results when I hire the person who's going to push me. Because otherwise I'll be like, well, I don't know, do I really go to the gym today? But if that person's like, hey, meeting you at the gym at 4, I'm like, well, I will be there.
We'll be there. Yeah. I love that. Okay. Thank you so much. I was like, it's just so important to hear from a business coach, like why people need that at every level.
Every level. Yeah, every level. Invest in what you can invest in and even stretch yourself to invest a little bit beyond what you think you can invest in because then you'll show up like skin in the game.
What I did. Honestly, like when I was hiring my business coach, I couldn't talk to anybody else about it. I couldn't have any opinions from anybody else because the investment in it, it's high for me. It was like just over 10% of my income.
Yeah,
And I
that's
was
a
like,
lot.
oh, feel that. Like that panics me. And I did it. And then I had anxiety for like a week before I started. And as soon as I started, I was like, this is the best money I've ever spent. And
Yeah.
I showed up so hard because when you pay attention.
Yeah. You pay to play.
You pay to play. Yeah.
Mm.
Well,
Thank
thank
you
you.
so much. This was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, anytime. This was such a good conversation. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming. I think we'll have to do part two in the near future and keep the conversation going.
Feels like we have a lot more to talk about.
I agree. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks, Ashley.